From our studios in the Southern Food and Beverage Museum in New Orleans, welcome to our Louisiana Eats podcast series, Quick Bites. I'm Poppy Tooker. Today's podcast is the first in our new series, Tricentennial Tributes. To qualify for a Louisiana Eats Tricentennial Tribute, a New Orleans food business has to have been part of the culinary scene here for at least a century of the 300 years New Orleans is currently celebrating. On this podcast, we're going to visit Chisesi brothers to learn the family story from fifth generation Nicholas Chisesi and his octogenarian dad, Philip. Out on Jefferson Highway, there's a meatpacking company that's as much a New Orleans institution as Leidenheimer bread and Blue Plate mayonnaise. Can you guess who we're talking about? It's the place where the ham comes from for your perfect ham poor boy, Chisesi brothers.
Sometimes we say the name Chisesi. You've had Chisesi ham, and people say, I don't know. I said, the little pig. Oh, yes, we've had that product.
That happy little pig is everywhere. In fact, a couple of life-sized pigs flank Chisesi's front door. For 110 years, Chisesi Brothers' Southern-style smoked meat products have been staples in homes, grocery stores, and restaurants throughout the South. Parkway Bakery and Dookie Chase Restaurant are just a few of their satisfied customers. In 2018, Chisesi's celebrating 110 years of meaty goodness. Since 1908, huh?
1908.
How are y'all going to celebrate 110 years?
I don't know. Hopefully we get drunk.
The business has certainly been through a lot of changes since its humble beginnings selling live chickens in the New Orleans French market. Following our tour of the plant, Nicholas introduced us to the patriarch of the family, his father, Philip.
That's my dad. All right.
And the two of them filled us in on the remarkable story of Chisesi Brothers Meats.
My name is Nicholas Chisesi, fifth generation of Chisesi Brothers Meatpacking Company here in New Orleans.
My name is Philip Chisesi, and my position is that I'm owner of Chisesi Brothers at this time. I'm the fourth generation, and they're the fifth generation behind me.
1908 is when we really, started keeping track of everything, but we started out selling chickens, believe it or not, live in the French Quarter, and the French market is exactly how it actually started.
I'm 81, so the furthest I can remember was on Decatur and Ursuline. We sold live chickens, ducks, rabbits, geese. I was born in French Quarter. I went to St. Mary's School around the corner, St. Mary's Italian School.
Did you know you knew your grandfather?
I knew my grandfather. I used to help him make chicken coops that they used to go catch your chickens with. When you go on a farm, they had a house, and you used to go catch the chickens on the house and put them in the cage, put them on a truck to bring them down here. We were living on Conti Street when we had, as far as live chickens, we was distributing to different people when we brought them in on a truck. Then from Conti Street, we went to, I think it was Governor Nichols, and then we sold dressed chickens out of there. But I used to go to Aloysius School, and after school I used to go to the business and start cutting chickens and putting them in a box. And I was, I guess, about maybe 15, 16 years old.
And you graduated from high school and went straight into the business?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I became a salesman, and then I was going out and sell the product. It was not only chickens, it was eggs, hams. We bought the hams from Tupelo, Mississippi. I guess I was in my 20s when I was on the street.
And who were your customers?
At that time, they had a lot of mom and pop stores, I call them, that we used to sell. We had all the restaurants, Antoine's and that we sold to restaurants, and Swagman was a good account for us.
Were there any particular customers back in the day that you used to just love to go call on?
Well, there was a bunch of customers like that. I mean, you got personal friendship with them and that. And you go in there to get an order, and At that time, you used to have other salesmen from Swift, Carterhead, or wherever the packing house was coming from, and you used to have little contests of flipping a coin or something to buy a soft drink or something like that. I mean, so it goes back a long ways.
When did the profile of your products, how did that evolve and change? What drove those changes?
Well, you had more chicken houses coming in. We was a middleman, more or less, and they kind of went in directly to these big stores and start selling these big stores, and the little mom and pop stores wasn't there anymore that I could sell.
So then they started doing some beef, and then they started doing some cutting and trimming of the meat, making of sausages and stuff like that, and it went from there.
Then we moved to Galvez and La Perouse. It was an old ice house at one time.
And where's that? What neighborhood is that?
That's not far from Dookie Chase's restaurant, right up in that area.
Yeah.
So we were there for a long time, and it was kind of like people hear the name and people in the neighborhood, and we used to do hot dogs and stuff like that at the time. So the kids would come by and they'd get a hot dog, and the kids kind of remembered that. So it was just one of those things. And then a gentleman one day came along and said, we could smoke some hams.
And then we started making our own hams on La Perouse and Galvez. Well, the ham is something that you want to, the way we do it, it's an old-fashioned way. It's a whole muscle ham. It's not ground up and then put in a foam, because every time you look at one of them hams, you see they're all the same shape. Mm-hmm. You know hams ain't the same shape.
No, pigs don't come in the same shape, do they?
No. So that's why ours is a little different. Yes, it's different little shapes now and then that we keep it in. And that's the hardest part, to try to keep that, because when you get new employees, you got to form it the right way.
We still do it the same way, the way that the product is handled, the way that the product's injected, and the way it's smoked. It's still all the same. We haven't changed that recipe. It's the way it's done. The braham that it's seasoned with, our flavor and that it's done with is our own. It's it's got a sweet, smoky taste at the same time, where some hams are more salt taken and have salt flavor and stuff like that. But ours is it is what it is. It's kind of like a New Orleans tradition to have that for Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving, that product.
Currently, your operation is located out in Elmwood. When did y'all make the move out there?
We went from the French Quarter. We moved into an old ice house on La Perouse and Galvez Street. We kind of outgrew that neighborhood, and then we moved to Julia Street, 2419 Julia Street, right by the Superdome.
And then Washington Avenue, we had a plant that we used to take care of all the school beds. And then the storm came along and wiped us out.
So that I'm sure that was an absolutely insane time. It was for all of us, but y'all had quite a struggle too. As I understand, everybody's houses, the factory, everything, boom.
Right.
So it was kind of like the nuclear explosion, and you had to start over.
Right.
How did y'all set out to do that?
Well, we finally got back in after some time, and we was in Baton Rouge, basically, and we kept trying to get back because we knew that we was going to have a mess on our hands. I mean, everybody's refrigerators smelled. We had walk-in refrigerators, so it was even a bigger mess. Right, correct. So, and we did a commercial after saying, if you think your refrigerator stunk, you can just imagine what ours was like.
We had 2.5 million pounds of meat we threw away.
Oh my gosh.
You should have smelled that.
I'm glad I didn't, honestly.
So my dad at the time was like, the cavalry's not coming. What are we going to do here? And, what do y'all want to do? We can basically throw the towel in, or we can keep on going. And we decided that we wanted to continue on. And so he said, nobody's coming to help us. We got to get into it ourselves.
There was about 9 people that really took us 3 weeks to clean up.
So we got down and we just started throwing everything out, doing what we had to do to sanitize, calling up to see, hey, we want to be back up in operation. We can't wait. And everything was so hard to get people to try to get an answer from, the state and this and everybody else to say, okay, we want to start and operate and get back in operation. What do we need to do? We're cleaning up stuff. We're repairing the roof. We're getting refrigeration. We're getting everything done. And the big thing was my dad was driven on trying to get some normalcy back to the people in New Orleans. And, if you have Thanksgiving, that's what we were shooting for, is to have the product back on the table for people for Thanksgiving. So that's what we shot out to do, and that's what we did. 2 weeks before, we were back up and running.
Well, that's kind of a miracle. How did you get the equipment and everything?
Well, it was a lot of work. When we had like 7, we had family members and about 4 or 5 friends of the family that were there every day and pushing through and getting it done. And just, basically we was focused on a game plan, and we had to get it done. So we just got it done.
There must have been some tokens of gratitude that came your way.
Well, they're still buying the product, and they're supporting us. And the reason why we are where we are is because of the people that, support that product. It really is the people that drive us.
We got thanks all the way from Texas. Texas and further than Texas that people called up.
Anything stand out in your mind that anybody had to say?
Well, this is hard to believe, but I had a guy flying him from Hawaii to buy the hams. Now, he had his own plan, and the guy that come to buy the hams, I said, you come that far with the pilot. I said, I'll give you a couple of hams.
That's incredible. Was he a New Orleanian?
Yeah, that was really something.
Of course, any business to survive and thrive has to evolve. How rare is it for you all to introduce a new product?
It's very rare because it's hard to try to get my father to change. This is the way we do it. We do it the same way every day and don't change. But we took the opportunity because of the Cajun product. To me, has been misrepresented in many ways as being hot and spicy. To me, Cajun flavoring is a bold taste. You taste it, and then it kind of fades away and goes away. So we wanted to get it right. So we decided that we was going to come out with a product like that. So we went to Tony Chachere's seasoning, which is known and throughout as Creole seasoning. And, it took a little doing, but we got it worked out to where we can co-brand with them. And I think it's just taken 2 Louisiana iconic names, merging them together to support the state of Louisiana and to go out there and to just sell Louisiana, because there's nothing like food that's in Louisiana.
And what does Dad say? Did Dad have to be persuaded, or did he just take a taste and go along with the project?
He was sold on first taste.
So you've been working in the business, well, let's see, about 75, 76 years now, huh?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
You started when you... I hear you come here every day.
Yes, I do. I come here in the morning. I'm starting to leave a little early in the evening, though.
Oh, you're cutting yourself a little slack after all these years. Do you suppose you'll ever retire?
What would I do?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been such an honor and a pleasure having a chance to sit down with you.
Keep pushing. That's all I can say.
Philip Chisesi and Nicholas Chisesi, 4th and 5th generation owners and operators of Chisesi Brothers Meats, celebrating 110 years of Chisesi family pride. Now that you've got the ham ready, what are you going to serve with it? If you're at my table, it's a good guess that we're going to eat my grandmother's scalloped potatoes with that ham, or maybe with the standing rib roast. What are scalloped potatoes anyway? There's a lot of general confusion over scalloped potatoes and au gratin potatoes. The name comes from an Old English word, collop, which means to slice thinly. The potatoes are peeled and thinly sliced. I like mine a 1/4 inch or thinner. Most scalloped potato recipes include cheese and breadcrumbs, but the recipe I've adapted from my dad's memory of his mom's scalloped potatoes have neither. In a deep buttered casserole dish, I layer the thinly sliced potatoes with thinly sliced onions. Each layer is dotted with butter and seasoned lightly with salt and pepper. Then I sprinkle about a teaspoon of flour over the potatoes and onions and repeat the process. Depending on how deep your dish is, you should have 4 or 5 layers of onions and potatoes. Pour enough milk, cream, or half and half into the baking dish to fill it up halfway, and then Top the last layer with slices of bacon. Because everything's better with bacon, right? Even a Chisesi ham. The scalloped potatoes bake for an hour or more in a 350-degree oven right alongside your ham. Granny's creamy scalloped potatoes were said to have been inspired by meat rationing during World War II, when the thick slices of bacon would have been the only meat on the plate. You can find a link to my grandmother's scalloped potato recipe in today's show notes. A couple of last words about Chisesi. A lot of people are acquainted with their product, having met it on a poor boy. It's the only sliced ham that lots of high-profile poor boy joints like Parkway Bakery will use on their sandwiches. Once a year, Chisesi holds an event with partners Blue Plate Mayonnaise and Leidenheimer Bakery when they build the world's biggest poor boy down the center of Royal Street in the French Quarter. This year's sandwich included sections of sliced ham and roast beef, along with Chisesi's new official Cajun versions of ham and beef made in partnership with Tony Chassery. The finished sandwich measured over 350 feet in total. Once the measuring and photo ops were finished, the poor boy, dressed of course, was sliced and served to the hundreds of bystanders who gathered for the event. Look for your free poor boy this year on National Sandwich Day, which will be celebrated in 2018 on Saturday, November 3rd. While marveling at this year's block-long sandwich, I came across Chef Chris Montero of the Napoleon House, who was on hand helping with the assembly. Chris is a member of a unique barbecue team, the Silence of the Hams. The team consists of some of New Orleans' greatest chefs, including Michael Brewer of the Baton Rouge restaurant group City Pork Hospitality, Chef Jared Rawls of La Boca, and Commander Chef Tori McPhail. The group originally came together as a competition barbecue team for Hogs for a Cause, the mega annual event which has been raising money for pediatric brain cancer since 2008. The four chefs developed a special New Orleans smoked sausage manufactured and distributed by Chisesi, which debuted in late December of 2017. Silence of the Ham's signature sausage is now available in grocery stores across the Gulf South and always in stock at Rouse's. As you can imagine with this chef-driven product, it's showing up on lots of restaurant menus as well. 100% of the proceeds from Silence of the Ham sausage benefits Hogs for the Cause pediatric brain cancer outreach services in the U.S. Over the last decade, they've given out 600 grants, partnering with Children's Hospital of New Orleans, Ochsner, Duke, and many other children's hospitals across the country to identify families in need. If you'd like to give to Hogs for the Cause, you'll find a link to their website in today's show notes. This year's Hogs for the Cause will be held on March 23rd and 24th. Visit their website for details. Keep an eye out for future Louisiana Eats Quick Bites with the Silence of the Hams team and the founders of Hogs for the Cause. You won't miss a single serving if you'll subscribe to our podcast. Also, visit poppytooker.com for lots more recipes and delicious food ideas. I'm Poppy Tooker. Thanks for listening. This Tricentennial tribute was a quick bite of Louisiana Eats, produced by Poppy Tooker Broadcasting.